you ever found yourself in that situation? You walk into a routine doctor's appointment, you feel perfectly fine, and then bam, the nurse takes your blood pressure and the numbers are way higher than you expected.
Oh, absolutely.
You're thinking, wait, what? I feel okay. Does that sound familiar?
Uh-huh.
Well, in this deep dive, we're gonna really get into why that might be happening. And more importantly, give you some ways to get readings that actually show your real health, not, just your nerves.
It's such a common thing people experience, and honestly, it can be really misleading. Simple stuff, things you wouldn't even think about, can seriously skew those numbers.
Right.
So our mission today is just kind of unpack the real story behind those readings. We'll look at what our sources say and give you some practical, actionable things you can do to get a better handle on your own blood pressure monitoring.
Okay, so we think of it as routine, a doctor's visit, but looking at the research, it seems like it's anything but routine when it comes to blood pressure, huh? Turns out lots of things can mess with those numbers way beyond just like sitting still for a second.
Precisely. The key thing to get is that your blood pressure isn't just a static number. It's dynamic. It reflects your whole body's state right at that exact moment.
Okay.
Things like just general stress, maybe rushing to the appointment, feeling anxious, or even, believe it or not, having a full bladder. All that can make a reading look worse, sometimes much worse than it really is.
A full bladder. Seriously?
Yes. And there's this actual phenomenon. It's called white coat syndrome.
Uh-huh. I've heard of that.
Yeah. It affects nearly 1 in 3 people. It's especially common in older adults. Just being in the clinic makes their blood pressure shoot up.
Wow.
And it's not just, a funny quirk. It's a real issue because it could lead to a misdiagnosis or getting put on medication you don't actually need if those high readings aren't double-checked properly.
Wait, hang on. Back up to the bladder thing. You're saying needing to pee could add 30 points? 30? To my blood pressure.
It sounds wild, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I never would have guessed that.
It's honestly one of the most surprising things from the sources, but also one of the most impactful. Needing to use the restroom puts your body under a measurable amount of stress.
Huh.
And yes, that can raise your systolic pressure by, up to 30 points in some cases. It really changes how we should think about any blood pressure check.
Yeah.
It's not just sit down, cuff on. You need the right conditions for an accurate picture.
Okay.
So the simple fix, but it makes a big difference, is always try to use the restroom before you get your blood pressure taken.
Wow. Okay, so just hitting the restroom first, huge takeaway right there. 30 points difference, potentially. But that's only one part of it, right? What about all the other little stresses? Just like getting to the appointment itself. I know I've done that mad dash, couldn't find parking, running late, then stuck in those awful waiting room chairs. My heart's already pounding before they even call my name. It really creates that bad recipe you mentioned, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It all adds up. The research backs this up. It shows seniors, for example, can spend 50 minutes, sometimes more, just traveling to and waiting at appointments.
50 minutes? Wow.
Yeah, so you've got the driving stress, maybe parking hassles, the waiting itself, sitting in those, often stiff, uncomfortable chairs.
Yeah.
And maybe that full bladder we just talked about.
Right.
It all combines as like the perfect storm for a skewed reading. What's really crucial, and the sources emphasize this, is that being in a calm, relaxed space, that makes all the difference for getting an accurate number.
Okay, so if the doctor's office itself, with all that built-in stress, might actually be, messing up our readings, where does that leave us? How can listeners get a number that shows their actual health, not just the stress of the visit? Feels like we need a totally different way of doing this.
That's exactly the point. This is where you can start taking control. And the material we looked at has some really practical advice for accurate home monitoring.
Okay, like what should people do?
So if you're just starting medication, or maybe changing it, the guideline is check twice a day. Once in the morning, before your meds, and again in the evening, maybe before dinner. Do that for about 7 days.
Okay, twice a day for a week, if meds are changing. What about after that?
Once things seem stable, checking maybe 2 or 3 times a week is usually enough.
Got it. And are there tips for doing it right at home?
Oh, definitely. Some pro tips for accuracy. Always rest quietly for about 5 minutes before you take the reading. No caffeine, no big movements or exercise right beforehand. Try not to be stressed.
Right, calm space again.
Exactly. And use the bathroom first, always. Then take 2 readings, about a minute apart, and average them. That gives you a more reliable picture.
Thinking about the doctor's office check, It's easy to think, oh, it's just a quick BP check, it's part of the visit, maybe it's free. But you mentioned hidden costs. Is that really common? Are people getting surprise bills for this?
It's a fair point. It might not happen every single time, but the sources suggest it's common enough that you should be aware of it. Yeah, patients definitely do sometimes get surprise bills. Maybe the doctor spends a few minutes talking about your prescriptions, and that gets billed separately as a medication review.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe what felt like a quick check gets coded as part of a bigger, more complex bundled service that costs more. So yeah, it's smart not to just assume it's always a routine, no extra charge thing.
So, okay, we need the right technique at home. Are there also, like, smarter tools, technology that can help us track this better and really put the info in our own hands?
Absolutely. Technology's really stepped up here. These new Bluetooth monitors, things like Mocha Cuff, iHealth, RNPHO, Greater Goods, they're not just fancy gadgets. They're actually kind of a game changer.
How so?
Because they sync automatically with apps on your phone, like Apple Health or FinchQ.
Yeah.
So you're not just getting single isolated readings, you're building up a continuous picture, a story of your health over time.
Ah, so you can see patterns.
Exactly. Imagine noticing, hey, my blood pressure is consistently lower on weekends, or maybe, wow, it spikes every time I have a really stressful day at work.
Right.
Right.
That kind of real-time trend data, it gives you actionable insights, and it gives your doctor much better information than just one reading from a stressful office visit. Plus, if you're helping care for a family member, it lets you monitor things remotely and offer support.
Okay, this is great. So it feels like we can boil this down to a clear checklist for people listening to really take control of their blood pressure monitoring.
Precisely. Your checklist basically is, number 1, think about getting a Bluetooth blood pressure monitor that syncs easily with a health app like Apple Health.
Okay. Step 1, get the right tool.
Step 2, consistently follow those best practices we talked about. Every single time you take a reading, the resting, the bathroom or break 2 readings, consistency is key for accuracy.
Right. Good habits.
And step 3, empower yourself. Share your accurate home monitored data with your doctor. On your terms, not just relying on that single, potentially skewed reading you get at the appointment. Okay, bringing it all together then.
Yeah.
The bottom line really seems to be, the numbers matter a lot, but how you get those numbers matters just as much, maybe even more sometimes. A noisy office, being rushed, needing the restroom, all that stuff can send your blood pressure numbers way up and give you a totally misleading picture of your health.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? It means that with the right setup at home, a reliable monitor, and following those simple steps, you can get results that truly reflect your actual health, not just your nerves or the stress of the moment. It's about moving from just sort of passively getting a number thrown at you to actively understanding what your body is telling you.
And just think about that for a second. The empowerment that comes from really understanding your own body's signals, having that accurate health data right there on your phone. Imagine how having that personal information could actually transform how you approach your health, turning that anxiety about high numbers into, actual insight you can act on.